a man whose life in many ways encapsulates this struggle. Chief Arthur Mama.
Fellow elders, ladies and gentlemen, everyone here knows about my position about sovereign national conference. But let me say this. Can any of us, all of us, ask ourselves a question? How come that our iron and steel are not working? How come we have petrochemical and chemical industry that are not working? How come that our refineries are not working? How come we have beautiful weather, we have rivers, we have gas, but no electricity? How come? How come that this system is not working? And we pretend a system found on lies will not work. It's not going to work until you do something about that system. So our quarrel is with the system. The system is not working. 1962, Soviet Union started our iron and steel. Nadia-Okuta. The same Soviet Union started Egyptian iron and steel. India, their first iron and steel. China, their first iron and steel. All the other countries are doing very well. The only country that their iron and steel is not working is Nigeria. The reason is simple.
Corruption.
If you get the politics of the country right, you get the economy right. All these things we talk about economy. This country is broke now because the politics is not right. So the earlier we come to a round table and it's sovereign. The reason why it's sovereign is Nigeria is a funny country. This is the only country I see that they tell you in politics 1 + 1 can be 5. This is the only country they will tell you in politics 10 + 10 can be 50. Therefore, we must sit round table, take a decision, and that decision will be binding. That is why it's sovereign. And people misunderstand what that sovereign means. And let me tell you this. This government, they better be in a hurry. They better be in a hurry. They have no time anymore. No time anymore. They better call it down or they will perish.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll move to another great orator, the Honorable Nyawodo.
Fellow Nigerians, we are meeting at a time when our country is in a very grave situation. Last week, one community in my neighboring Anambra State buried 12 people who were murdered in cold blood. In Mandala, in Bauchi, and in Gombe, ghastly murders have taken place, dispossessing families of their breadwinners. A cousin of mine who returned from Kano came to my house a day before I came here, and he said to me, I have come home with my wife and children, but 2 of my sons are in the University of Maiduguri. I cannot be in Enugu and leave my children in Maiduguri. I have gone to all the neighboring universities here for a transfer, and they tell me they've exhausted the capacity allowed them by the National Universities Commission. What will I do with my children? I grew up in Enugu at a time that a man from Katsina, Alhaji Umaru Altini, was mayor of Enugu, a city that was 90% or 99% Igbo. I grew up to learn that Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe of blessed memory was elected to the Lagos Council, was elected to the House of Assembly here, and almost became Premier of Western Nigeria. He personally told me the story of cross-carpeting in Ibadan and how he made the speech of betrayed but not defeated in Mako Hall. These stories underline my Nigerianness. I took my first degree from the University of Ibadan. The University of Ibadan had over 68% Yoruba population. But I was elected president of the University of Ibadan Students' Union. It was at a time that being Nigerian was a great quality for leadership. What has happened? That is what I asked Audogbe. The greatest problem that faces our country today is the insecurity of life and property. With all due respect, the security forces have been overwhelmed. Because never in anybody's imagination would you have thought that the kind of security problems posed to us today will be managed by the paucity of manpower that we have, their patriotism and their training. I come from a place where police mount roadblocks in order to ensure security of life and property. The last time I said this, I was detained, and I'm willing to be detained again for saying this. I traveled from Onitsha to Enugu and I counted 37 checkpoints. They were not checkpoints, they were toll gates. I am very happy that the new Inspector General of Police says that bribery in the police force must stop and organized bribery must stop. But it is unfortunate that his men in the streets are not listening to this. They demand money from motorists without caring whether the Inspector General of Police is a passenger in that car. The greatest weapon of police or security is information, intelligence. When a citizenry is traumatized to the point where they do not have confidence in people in uniform, how much information can they volunteer to them? Now these are symptomatic of the fact that we are in a very grave situation. Mr. Moderator, what we are doing here is to check the consciousness of our leaders and of the citizenry. What I do recommend is that this dialogue becomes a continuing phenomenon in our body politic. We must not only hold it today and tomorrow, we must move it to all the 6 zones of our country, and in the process allow its message to contaminate others who are not presently involved in it. In the process, check the conscience of our government so that they can seize the moment and make fundamental changes in our body politic that are necessary. The good thing about what we are doing is that we are evolving a culture of democracy which is concomitant with the system that we run. You will find that we can no longer discover leaders in Nigeria because there is no one who can get up and speak without a script and speak to the issues and be believed for what he is saying. So, Mr. Chairman, sir, The new dimension I want to add is that discussion is a necessary concomitant of politics. Principle, the views that you hold, is what makes you a leader. We want to see our leaders stand up and take a position on these things in order to confirm to us where they are leading us to. And we want to see this movement become a movement of the citizenry. The sovereignty of the country rests in the citizenry. They are the ultimate power. That is why when a decision is so fundamental in a polity, it is subjected to a referendum. This issue of the fact President Clinton came to Ghana and said to Africans, build credible institutions, not leaders. President Obama, sorry. What we are talking about is that our country should have credible institutions that will be relevant to the renaissance demands of Nigerians. Our present constitution has failed. I belong to the Patriots, and our chairman has labored effortlessly to this. We even drafted a constitution and sent to the National Assembly and to the president at that time. Nobody took it seriously. If it had been taken seriously, we will not be in this situation. We should synergize with the current National Assembly and the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Document our views and present a bill for a conference to be convoked where Nigerians will... The constitution we are operating today, I was part of it. I was the chief spokesman of government when it was written. It did not evolve from a national conference of the kind that we're talking about. And it was promulgated after government had come into power. Because the desire was to return Nigeria to civilian politics as quickly as possible.
Yes.
But right now, having said so, the people must be allowed to write their own constitution. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you. I am going to, at this point, quickly move to bring in some of our mothers and sisters. Mrs. Joy Okunu, I just go, please.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to concur with Mr. Onyewodo and Mrs. Shekara. I was born in the southeast, Umuahia, at the hospital there. I'm from... when? And at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Umuahia. And I am Oguni Rivers, now married to Yoruba, Lagosian, contested at the FCT for my party, and contested for the chairmanship of the CPC. I know that in Nigeria now, if you speak the voice of opposition, you're regarded as an enemy. I've also experienced the fact that if I do not believe in principle but my conviction, I do not believe in my race, and that's not true. I know that I have been an activist and I have stood for my people. It's on record here. But if I choose to align myself with a political decision, I cannot be an enemy of my people or be seen as that. Now, the issue with Nigeria for me is corruption. We talk about so many things. I want to align with all those who have spoken about corruption. Most of the issues that have been raised are issues of corruption. Even in the South where I come from, because of the multi-ethnic society of the South-South, we're also divided. We need to come together. We need to be seen as an Oguni man, as an Ijo man, as an Ikwere man, and we all have a representation. And we all have representation. I think that we need to go to that conference, knowing that we are different groups of people in Nigeria, knowing that when my representative goes there, I too will be protected. And for those who say you don't have to speak for the South anymore, marrying off, like Madame was saying, doesn't mean you're not a Nigerian. By my birth, it qualifies me to stand up in society to say I am indeed a Nigerian. I think that we need to talk. We need to talk about so many issues in Nigeria. Insecurity, I do not even see myself going into the north again and not seen as a Christian woman that is coming. We need to live together as one, and I think that we need to talk. We need to talk right now. Thank you very much.
So thank you so very much. Now let me just to re-emphasize as the microphone moves to and cue Briggs. Make a point, I think, about corruption as so central. I try to prick the conscience of people many times by quoting the first paragraph of a book on corruption and development in Africa, which basically says that corruption runs the spectrum in Africa from rare in Botswana to widespread in Ghana to systemic in Nigeria. The first line of a book on corruption and development. I think that if we look at the heart of many of the challenges we have in this country, corruption is there. Ms. Ankyo Briggs.
Good afternoon, everyone. My fathers, I greet you all. My brothers and sisters. First of all, I want to follow the path of Joy, I think, where she introduced herself. I want to say that I am of mixed parentage. My mother is British. My father is an Ijaw man from the Niger Delta, which is in Nigeria, in that order. Therefore, I align myself with my father. I am honored enough to be able to say that I remember pre-independence. I also remember the Biafran War, and I also very much remember the Niger Delta agitation, and we're now in the Boko Haram agitation. I want to stand on the first national anthem, which is really where my heart is. And there is one particular line that I hold on to, and it says, though tongues and tribes may differ, in brotherhood we stand. That is the Nigeria that I know. That is the Nigeria that I continue to belong to. That is the Nigeria that I respect. That is the Nigeria that I hope will stay together. But I am also not going to misinform anyone. I will not and do not intend to sacrifice who I am, which is an Ijaw person, and my region, which is Niger Delta, for the sake of Nigeria. Because nobody else is prepared to sacrifice their region for my people. We all together must form and rebuild a Nigeria that is equal, irrespective of number of where you come from. I do not want to deceive myself, and I will not be deceived, to think that because I am a Nigerian, that therefore I will deny my ethnicity. We are different people that make up this country, and we should be proud of that difference, and we should enhance that difference, and not use that difference to manipulate others. Alabo here has said what happened during the Niger Delta crisis. I want to be on record to say, and I have said it before, that what Nigeria is calling today peace in the Niger Delta is a peace that belongs to fool. I am not part of that. Because if nothing changes, we will go back and find ourselves in the same position where the output of oil was reduced to 700,000 barrels. The late Yaradua did not resolve or attempt to resolve the Niger Delta crisis because of his love for Niger Delta people. He resolved it because Nigeria needs the oil that is coming from the Niger Delta. We must put together a Nigeria that brings together all the resources that belongs to all Nigerians from all the 36 states. I am highly offended, my elders, when I hear people say our oil. How is the devastation not our devastation? How is the pollution of our land not our pollution? How is the killing of my people not our killing? and we're told that it is one Nigeria. We want it to be one Nigeria. I want it to be one Nigeria. My father, as I said, is a Nigerian. But I will not sacrifice my people for the sake of Nigeria. There is resources in every single state that is in this country. And therefore, it is about time that we sit down and bring everything to the table. I am highly offended by the comment of Sanusi that people are killing their fellow human beings because of derivation. If we're sharing derivation, what is it that he Sanusi, what is in his state? What is he bringing to Nigeria? 9 states, including Lagos, because it is the commercial heart of Nigeria, is contributing to the wealth and distribution of wealth of this Nigeria. I therefore say again that 27 states in this country and their governors are lazy. They should look for what to do, how to develop their state, how to invest in their state. Let everybody bring what they have. Let all of us share it. I thank you.
Yes, thank you. My sister Ankyo and I have been having very strong discussions of this matter. And I think she makes her point very stoutly. But more importantly, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, more important than the states that have natural resources that are being exploited is the fact that real progress comes from much more than natural resources. It is the failure of the leadership in this country to apply themselves that the country has not grown from every part of Nigeria. You can create billions of naira worth of wealth from any state in this country. You can create hundreds of thousands of jobs, if not millions, if governors will sit down and think about why they were elected and not just go to Abuja and collect money to put in security votes. Okwadike Ibubu, Dr. Ezibe.
Fellow Nigerians, I beg you one thing. Take one of my minutes. Let us stand in memory of those whose blood are flowing around Nigeria. Please stand up. Remove your cap. May the blood, the soul of the dead, rest in peace.
Yeah, sitting here. Okay.
I thank God that I'm here. I thank the organizers for inviting me. Whatever brought us here is God ordained. We all think we are autonomous individuals going by our designs. We are only tools in the hands of God. Many of us saw the hands of God in the emergence of President Jonathan as President of Nigeria. It may be the manifest destiny of his presidency to transform Nigeria into a country that works. There's no way he can do it without a restructuring of this country, which must take account of what we are saying. Change the country from being shipwrecked to selling.
Please.
All Nigerians need one Nigeria. except those who are ignorant of their interest. The North needs one Nigeria. Indeed, the North was the reason for Nigeria. Igbo have demonstrated their need for one Nigeria. They live everywhere in the world, they live everywhere in Nigeria, and they will continue to live everywhere in Nigeria, even if the country breaks up. We need a country that works. The present 36-state structure, in addition to other deficiencies, is inconsistent with developing Nigeria as a world power, let alone a world superpower, which is what God created it to be. At least the 6 geopolitical zones, amended as necessary and agreed, should become the federating units. Police goes to zonal, not state government. Army remains national with zonal commands. We choose between unicameral or bicameral legislation, full-time or part-time legislators, etc., etc. If statism, myopia, makes some states unwilling to join the zone, we can give them a device that is temporary, federally administered states. Nigeria is a blessed country. I forgot to say that Olufalaye and his people need one Nigerian market for the domination of industry, commerce, and finance.
And time is running.
Yes, yes.
4 minutes.
Let me thank you. Remember, you took my 1 minute. Let me thank you for gathering us here. The message cannot be lost. Sovereignty resides in the people, but we must be careful. The sovereignty we are asking does not involve changing the term of office of incumbent office holders. That should be made clear to the National Assembly in the law we send to them. That done, no human being born by woman who is thinking about the good thing, good future for Nigeria will resist a national conference.
Thank you. If I get all the murmuring around me and all the side comments, Okwadike may have suggested a unicameral part-time citizen legislature to Nigeria. But I am going to go quickly to that youth man, and then I'll come to some special interest that I hear, like the chief economist of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Dr. Peter Ozoesan, who is here, and the young of this country who are the hope of this nation, who are here. Their voice must be heard before we return to our usual rotation. So, Lagisman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My elders, my brothers and sisters, good afternoon, everybody. We have had a lot of wonderful ideas from our elders who spoke before me. But all this thing we are saying can only work if there is democracy. Because what we are trying to do is really to try to walk on one leg. In Nigeria, we have been practicing what we call democracy from 1999 to date. But believe me, that's not democracy. That's civilian rule. If we want to do democracy, let's do it properly. Let the political parties we have allow even internal democracy. If they don't have democracy within themselves, how can they give you democracy that they don't have? I am glad to say this because one of our elders sitting here is Alhaji Balaraba Musa. Because from 1979 to 1983, the PRP, PNPP, GMPP, UPN, I don't want to say MPN, but I have to say it, tried to bring progressive politics. We did everything under the sun. At that time, we had 19 states, and 12 states were not controlled by MPN. And the governors of the time united to change Nigeria. MPN did everything under the sun. Please, those who are MPN at that time, please, I'm not saying anything to offend you.
One is very good.
We are united. That kind of unity, I have not seen it ever since again. By 1983, we were supposed to contest election under one political party. And believe me, that party, called PPP, Progressive People's Party, the symbol was an umbrella. The colors are what you now call the colors of PDP now. For whatever reason, at the tail end of 1983, before the election, all our plans were sabotaged. And because of that, we went to 1983 election in a disarray. That what gave MPN the opportunity to do what they call landslide. That landslide was followed by a gunslide. And that's what we have been suffering ever since. We are yet to find our focus. Please, those who are active in politics right now, do whatever you have to do to bring sanity to the political parties. Because what we have today are not political parties, but whatever they want to call themselves. And because of that weakness, that's why the government of the day does whatever they like. You can imagine what we went through some few weeks ago when they say they remove what they call subsidy, which is really increase in petroleum price. Any other name is not acceptable to me, for the simple reason that if it was subsidy, how come they started calculating what they were going to get in advance? How come the governors were dancing that either I will get 50 million extra or 100 million extra? So what subsidy are they talking about? Please, comrades, let me call you comrades because this is a meeting of official arrangement, and whoever organizes this summit group has the love of Nigeria in focus. Those who don't want to like Nigeria are the ones who are doing anything that will bring us down. And I don't think that is enough. Those who want to be counted should stand up to be counted. At the end of the day, the 36 states we have, do we really need them? Even if we need them, is that what they are going to is that what they are supposed to be doing? When you have a governor waiting for his commissioner of finance to give him a telephone call from that wonderful meeting every month, and they write with their red biro how many constructors are going to get what they are going to get. Let's be properly a Republican, democratic, and federal Republic of Nigeria. A Republic of Nigeria is not a republic where you have discrepancies, where you have people just make up their mind what they want, and they think they must get it whether anybody likes it or not. Some parties say they are going to rule for 60 years. Actually, somebody 2 months ago said they are even going to rule for forever. Well, maybe it may happen. Sometimes people speak out of context, but I am yet to hear anybody correcting themselves. What we are looking for in this country is a progressive country. All small countries go to international fora and contest with Nigeria and beat Nigeria at it. I had the opportunity to be in Cameroon sometime last year, and opposition came. Nigeria wanted it, and Togo got it. Nigeria doesn't command respect anymore, because if you don't have internal democracy, you don't do the right thing, you don't expect other people to respect you. I thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I am going to move to some young people. I think it's Miss Tare Yeri. Barrister Tare Yeri.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My elders, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. A lot has been said about, the state of the nation, and I want to align myself with my big sister, Anke Briggs, and Chief Audu said a lot about creating wealth in other areas other than oil. So I want to align myself to that as well. It's sad that, we are importing a lot of things, including rice. I understand my state can actually produce rice, but we import rice for 1 billion naira daily. Imagine that money going to my state by us. Well, unfortunately, we do import rice daily. And we understand that most of the states are running to the federal government every month to collect allocation monthly, rather than looking inwards to create wealth for the states. I want to reduce my discussion to 2 points, actually. Youth empowerment. What is the federal government, the state government doing to create that enabling environment for the youth to thrive in their own businesses? What are they doing to allow the youth to own their own businesses? Because we understand that there are a lot of youths that are wasted. If you go to the motor parks today, you find young men and young, agile men doing menial jobs to keep a living. Is it because the federal government don't create that opportunity for them? Because we have a lot of people with great skills that we can harness. We also find that, a lot of our youth are going into militancy and all of that. I remember my cousin was telling me, I had a discussion with his young 12-year-old son, and he asked him, what do you want to be? He said, I want to be a militant. So what are the values we are inculcating in our youth today to become leaders of tomorrow, where they grow in ranks, grow with a sense of value, integrity, and a great sense of character? What are we doing as fathers, grandfathers, mothers to catch them young and inculcate in them these values? Because you see them today, they want to go through the fast lane. They want to become a politician. But what are the values that we can set around those politics and all of that, so that our children will grow in ranks and become leaders of tomorrow? And then leadership. When we talk about leadership, I see that, we electorates, we don't genuinely have that opportunity to vote our leaders. I'm talking about the grassroots electorate. You see a man wake up in the morning and he tells you he wants to be a governor. He goes to the community, he shares 1 cup of rice. The next day he becomes a governor. Now these are the people the community haven't set eyes on. But the day they decide to become the leaders of tomorrow, they wake up and then the magic is done. What opportunity are you being given to vote your leaders in? We're talking about leaders who have series of set of excellency, a set of performance that you can say, these are the leaders we want at the forefront to lead us. And then lastly, I just want to ask a question. When we talk about corruption, we also look at the federal government. But corruption is you and I. What are you doing to curb corruption? If you're quiet, you are part of the problem. And then one last thing, my elders, my fellow elders.
Sorry, elders, you are intimidating her. You're just making a mistake.
My fellow elders.
Go ahead, my dear. Yes.
One more question, elders.
Now, sorry, please. You can understand that the elders have intimidated her. She has spoken so well. And these last minute elders are trying to prevent her from asking a question. Please ask, my dear.
One last question, please. And it's something everybody needs to ponder on. Are you a role model? Good. When we say a role model, you have to look within yourself and ask yourself. Because they say character is what you do when nobody's watching.
Absolutely.
Are you my role model? Can you look me straight in the eye and say, you are my role model? And then lastly, when are you leaving? When are you going to bow and leave the stage for us younger ones? When are you going to train us to succeed you? When are you going to train us to succeed you, to sustain your legacies? Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Let me. Several of the elders around me say that they are bowing now before you. That you can carry go.
Oh, okay.
They're ready to hand over. Okay. One or two housekeeping things. By the way, we won't be able to break for tea, but tea is served. So we can get up, go and get our cup of tea, have it, come back quietly, not disrupting proceedings. And I'll move to Ireti Doyle.
Good afternoon, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, my elders, my colleagues. The problems facing us as a nation did not begin with this government. Where we find ourselves today is a result of the successive raping of my nation over the decades. And indeed...
Sorry, right, louder.
Okay. The problems facing us as a nation today did not begin with this government. It's a result of successive years of the raping of this great nation. And indeed, if you say the system has failed, then that means that the people have failed, because the system is not an abstract, it's something created by man. And that means that everybody who has been involved with this Project Nigeria over the last several years has failed. Indeed, as we speak, there are people in this room who have been involved, patronized, or served, or have benefited from this failed system. And my question is, what does anybody who has held public office in the last several years have to say for themselves? Yes, we need to talk. Several times we've gathered to talk. But every time we gather to talk, what do we say? Have you asked yourselves why corruption thrives? It's because very few people truly believe in the project called Nigeria. If you believe that you're part of a collective, you will treat it with respect. You will obey its laws. You will care. So yes, I agree with my sister, we need to talk. But like my sister from Kaduna said, when we get to the table, what are we going to say? The idea of being part of a nation that is 150 million and counting is romantic and nice. But how practical is it, given the realities on the ground? So when we do, if and when we do gather to talk, the people who will be there, because, hey, who knows, I may not have this opportunity again. Let us be true to ourselves. What is your motive? If you truly believe that Nigeria will be great, can be great as a nation of 150 million and counting, then let us begin to lay down the foundation for that kind of nation. But if it seems as if it's looking like it's not possible, if true federalism is the way, then let us do that. But let us stop fooling around and playing lip service to nation building.
Thank you so much. Thank you so very much indeed. I'll move on to Labour and take the voice of Dr. Pt.4, representing the NLC president.
Thank you very much. Given the short time that I have, I just want to articulate 3 quick points. The first is to re-emphasize that this nation is today in a true crisis position, and that therefore, in gatherings and discussions of this nature, we need to separate the immediate threat from the medium-term stroke long-term structural issues. And I think that we need to use this this occasion to call on our nation to realize that we are facing the greatest threat to the nation that we have ever faced since or even before the Civil War.